Hey guys, it's Elizabeth of erwplans.com, and today I'm going to show you how you can use your passion planner in Inktober. In this video, we're going to go over a few things. We're going to go over the ways to use a daily, weekly combination such as your Amplify Planner, and a monthly weekly combination such as your passion planner to do Inktober every day. We will go over inspiration for Inktober, and we'll go over some of my favorite tools for Inktober. Real brief overview, if you don't know, Inktober is a monthly or a month holiday, kind of like NaNoWriMo, where you are challenged to draw something every day for the month of October. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory with Passion Planner Daily because you have this giant space every day to draw in. If you want to do something smaller, your free space to grow is a perfect little daily space to put your Inktober drawing in. So like I said, I feel like it's kind of easy if you have the Passion Planner Daily to figure out how to do Inktober in it, but I did want to point out that this space makes an excellent little mini drawing. I've seen people do like little comics, and you could actually do a little drawing here like every day, and then as you flip through it at the end of the year, you'd have like a little animated comic, and it would be really cute. So just a thought. Ideas, if you're going to use this as a journal, you could basically just illustrate something from your day every day. In one of my blog posts, I talked about daily writing, free writing, brain dumping, and memory keeping. And this would be a Inktober is a perfect time to do memory keeping in your Passion Planner Daily. Just draw something that represents what happened that day instead of writing it out. In your Amplify, you have a few more options. You can do a drawing in your weekly section every day because you have a pretty big space here to work with. The only downside to that for me is the graph paper lines. But if you're copying something, if you're doing one of the styles of art that I learned in college where you're going to take a picture that you want to expand or shrink or just copy, and you divide it into tiles, then this would work out really well for you. So if that's your method, the weekly section is perfect. And because it's horizontal, I feel like it gives you a better canvas to work on, so to speak. But also, this section down here is an excellent section to do that. It's dot grid, so if you're going to do that grid thing, you have that space. It's slightly larger, I think. Yes, it's slightly larger than what you have on the weekly spaces. And it gives you that same kind of daily reminder to do your Inktober down here, like you have in the Passion Planner Daily. You can also divide it into 3 and do like a little 3-panel comic that tells a story across the entire month of October because of the way this is laid out. Or you could also do that in the weekly section. Just divide it up and do like a little comic every single day. It would be super adorable. So, Amplify Planner. Passion Planner Annual. The weekly. This is the large. I definitely wouldn't try it in the small. The medium, I'm kind of iffy on using it. You can, of course, draw in your weekly section in the columns. That wouldn't be my choice, but you totally could do that. What I would do is what I did in the month of July a couple years back, and do a little mini drawing every day right in the calendar. I wouldn't put any stickers in it. I would just, like I said, leave this open for you to do like a little drawing every single day for the month. So every day you're going to open up this page. And I feel like this worked out so much better for me. I mean, this was just an art a day thing that I did. So for me, there's some photographs that I've drawn on, just some photographs I'd made, collaging, that kind of thing. But for me, it was really a good way to remind myself to do the drawing every day, because I would just come to my monthly layout and I'd go in there and I would, you know, do my artwork for the day and be done with it. And it's a tiny little canvas, so it doesn't feel so intimidating. When I was trying to do the, this was the 28 to make challenge. When I was trying to do the 28 to make challenge in a notebook, it was like, oh my God. it felt like having this big blank page like you get with your daily planner felt insurmountable. It just felt huge. Little tiny space. The monthly spaces in the large felt like just the right size to not feel like I was going to freak out if I didn't do it. But also to not give me that like, oh my God, I can't do this feeling. So totally going to recommend, if you have the monthly and you want to do Inktober and you haven't succeeded in doing Inktober before, do it in the little squares every single day for the month of October. Next, I just want to talk real quick about the tools that I use for Inktober. There's a lot of options out there. I just want to talk about what I found when I was doing my July calendar. What I found worked best for me here. I experimented with a lot of different mediums, as you can see. And so I just want to kind of do what I found worked the best for me in the Passion Planner. The Passion Planner and the Amplify Planner both have really gorgeous paper that can take a lot of abuse. If you want to like do something like a dark like India ink, the paper will take it. The paper can take it without too much bleed through or ghosting. I'll show you that July spread that I did. I did watercolor here, and there's watercolor on one of the other days too, but this was watercolor down here, and as you can see, there's no bleed through. This was watercolor. This is one of my favorite watercolors I ever did in my planner, and there was no bleed through. There's a little bit of ghosting here, but like literally no bleed through. I did it last year. I did a whole set of watercolor spreads last year, and there was also no bleed through. So I mean, this paper can definitely take ink very well. This square right here is one of my is a collage poem square, and this got glue, and then newspaper on top of the glue, and then like I said, the India ink on top of that, and then and then the glitter Mod Podge on top of that. Like this square here got so much on it, and it's right here. You can't see anything here. This is the one that I did watercolor. This is the really reflective watercolor, that it takes a lot of layers to get it this opaque, and as you can see, no bleed through. So totally recommend using your if you're going to do watercolors, go for it. It'll totally work in here. If you want to use your inks, go for it. It'll totally work in there. And check out one of my videos on how to do the inks or watercolors in your planner. I haven't actually tried watercolors in the Amplify yet, but I can tell you that I've done some heavier inks in here, and the paper holds it beautifully. It holds my Tombow ink beautifully. This paper is great. I'm hoping for a notebook out of this paper, because I love this paper. It's just so beautiful. Anyway, so you have your paper all squared away. Tools as far as drawing is concerned, I'm absolutely going to recommend you get a set of the microns. I'll just pull them out here. They come in different sizes and different colors. Here I have, let me get rid of this purple one here. Here's 3 different sizes. We have the 05, which is super, super thin. I'm trying to see if you can see how thin that is. So you can do really tiny details. The 01 is thin, but it's still like a really good for lining. And then this is the 05, is good and thick for doing bold lines. There's also a brush version for filling in like a black ink. Like I said, it comes in colors. It's fantastic. Totally recommend those. I will recommend to you the Tombow brush pens. See that there? These are great for calligraphy, but they also do really good line work. I use these anytime I'm doing fancy lettering. They also work really well for coloring in solid black. So totally gonna recommend grab a set of these. And there's also a gray one that's a gray brush pen and a gray hard tip like this, and it's fantastic for doing black and white work. And then if you're gonna do colors, with this July spread that I did, here, all of the marker work that you see was done with my Tombow markers. I am obsessed with Tombow markers. One of the reasons is the color payoff is fantastic. You have they're the brush end on one, the bullet like marker tip on the other. So you can get like a variation, and they're blendable. You can get a blending marker. If you get the 10 packs, there's a blender in every 10 pack, but you can also use a water brush and blend them that way. I have an example over the background on this one and the background on this one were blended with a water brush. The skin tone here was blended with the water brush, and then my shading here was blended with the blender. So there's a lot. So these are fantastic. I love these for doing artwork. On the no-go list, just so you know, because there's always a question about the no-go list, the markers I would not recommend. As much as I love the mild liners, I wouldn't use them. They are highlighters. They're not blendable. If you layer too much with them, you will get bleed through and ghosting. The same is true of the Passion Planner quote-unquote markers. These are highlighters. There's not a good color payoff. They're very translucent because these are highlighters. It says highlighter right on it. The chisel tip is just like your old kind of school chisel tip marker, and the fine liner marker is super fine, but once again, doesn't have a lot of color payoff. It's like a highlighter with a really super fine point. So while it's great for planning, I wouldn't use it for coloring or artwork. They're also water-based, so if you get water on it, it will smear, but it doesn't blend. So I would not use these or these in Inktober. Also on my personal no-go list, anything that is alcohol-based. Check your markers. If it's alcohol-based, it's gonna bleed like crazy. You're gonna ruin your paper. Some of the worst offenders on the alcohol-based ones, we have the Copic markers, gonna bleed right through. The Prismacolor, also gonna bleed right through. The Sharpies, do not use permanent markers ever in your planner. They will bleed through. Especially the Sharpies, they're just, no, don't do it. Just don't do it. Any kind of paint or chalk marker, it's gonna bleed right through. Do not do this. This I got off of Jet Pens. It is an envelope pen. I don't think they make them anymore, but so they're on clearance right now. So if you're like, ooh, that's a really cheap pen. First of all, this is the ultra fine tip, and it's pretty dang big for being ultra fine. It bleeds like crazy. It bleeds on the paper. It bleeds through the paper. It is possibly one of the worst pens I've ever bought. Don't use it. Just no. This is gonna be a controversial one, but I don't recommend the Inkjoys. I find they smear. They don't dry very well. I have put holes in paper with these. No, I would not. And even the fine points are still pretty thick. No, sorry. I know that they are smooth to write with. If you're just writing in your planner and you have a large, that's probably great, but I would not draw with any of these. Also the friction pens, which I don't have because I threw out my last friction pen. Nope. These are all gonna be great if you're doing it in watercolor paper, or if you're doing it in any other kind of artist board or thick paper. The Zentangle squares, these will all work fine. Not in your planner. Never in your planner. Except for the Inkjoy if you're going to be writing. Maybe. I would use this in my daily. That's it. The rest of these, never in your planner. Couple other tools that I will recommend for you to have for Inktober if you don't already. A little 6-inch ruler for doing straight lines. If you're using a pencil to line first, the Staedtler Mars Plastic is my favorite eraser of all time. As you can tell, it's really kind of beat up. Get a bunch of these little wire clips if you're going to be doing an ink or paint of any kind, because you're going to keep that paper as flat as possible. Just clip it. Watch my watercolor video, just clip it down with these. Finally, I just wanted to talk about some sources of inspiration and some ideas that you can have for doing Inktober. As I mentioned with the large planner, I did the 28 to make challenge. You can find this on Creative Live, the 28 to make challenge. You don't get a prompt every day for the 28 days, so you're going to have to, and it's also only 28 out of the 31 days of October, so you will have to have a little bit of flexibility to kind of come up with something during those days. But this is a good starting point if you have no idea where to start. There is the 30-day or 31-day draw the everyday challenge. I personally like that one a lot. For that, you can get the course, I think off of Creative Live, but essentially just find one object and draw the hell out of that object every single day. If you're going to be using these small spaces of your monthly, that will work fantastic for you. So just something to kind of keep in mind. So you can draw, it would be like, draw your mug today, draw your notebook today, draw whatever today. Just draw one everyday object, draw your pen. Draw whatever is in front of you when you open it up. If you're doing draw the everyday 31-day challenge, I would recommend going somewhere different every day, even if it's just different locations in your house, different coffee shops, see if you can find, like, there was one time I sat in the lobby of a hotel and just drew whatever was in front of me, which was a planter. And actually you can see that in the July one that I did. But yeah, just find an everyday object and draw it, perfect it until you've got that object in your style. Just an everyday object. It's great. You'll have like this collection of random sketches of drawing of everyday objects. It's great. If you're going to be doing NaNoWriMo with us, I talked in the last video about our prep, and one of the really beautiful things about our prep is that it's really open-ended. So while there's a lot of writing prompts, if you're going to do Inktober in October and then NaNoWriMo in November, you can go to the daily blog posts and you can just draw the daily prompt. And you can just draw the daily prompt. So like on the day where it's like, do your character outline, you can literally draw your character and make that your Inktober. You can't, on the day that it's like, there's days where it prompts you to do drawing, like, you know, draw out your world map. But on days where it's like, what is your character eating? What is your character smelling? Draw those things. Draw out everything so you have a visual journal of what's going on. Other ideas include if you're doing a course a day, or if you're doing something like masterclass, if you're in college right now, try visual note-taking. Instead of writing your notes or typing out your notes, because I don't know if you guys still write anymore, draw them. Draw the concepts. Make your notebook your visual notebook for the month of October. You can do a self-portrait every day. I know that seems, at some point you're going to feel like you don't want to ever look at your own face again. But try a different medium and draw yourself every single day. Draw a different person every single day. Go outside, just sit outside in front of your house, Again, coffee shop. If you have, I'm in Boulder, so we have a pedestrian mall where you can just sit and watch people. Just go outside somewhere safe because of COVID and draw someone, some random person every day. Do 31 days of sketches of your friends. Just, you know, someone, if you don't have 31 close friends, 31 people that you have photos of to reference, go through your Facebook friends list. Draw your friends. Post it on Facebook. Finally, there's a series of books called 365 Drawing Ideas. I think there's like a 720 drawing ideas, 645 writing prompts. There's a link in the there's a link in the description for that book. For drawing, just follow along, randomly flip to a page and draw that every single day. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you liked the video, please make sure to subscribe so you get new content every week when it drops. Also, leave a like, a comment, and of course, share the video with your friends. We go live 7 a.m. every Wednesday, and we hope that you will join us again next week. Stick around for the next video, guys. We'll see you then. Bye.